welcome to the Motorsport. A beautiful sunny morning here in Anglesey. I've got the 205 out, got the rear shocks to fit on the back, and a couple of small jobs as well. I've replaced the bulky, normal, massive door pull handles inside, so now I'm sitting lower in the car. I was hitting my elbows on it when I was turning the car around, so put some strap ones in. Might be able to see. I'll show you in a minute, but it's good to hear. So I need to adjust the camber and lower the coilovers really, because it's pretty high actually. So I haven't put the caps back on the front wheels yet because I need to re-bleed the whole brake system, which I'll do in a bit. But it's not looking too bad. Nice to see it out in the sunshine again actually. So sorted out these little handles. I've got those tapered aluminium spreader washers that are used for the seats, and the harness bar, and I've used some to make bought some webbing on eBay, cut it to size, melted the edges so it didn't fray, and screwed them in. They've got Aussie drive screws holding it in a minute. I'm going to change them to hex cap bolts, but yeah, really strong, nice and tidy, out of the way of my elbows, which will be a bonus. So happy days on that one. So yeah, I need to bleed the brakes again, so fit the rear shocks, which I almost forgot to do because the box was buried underneath a load of other bits in here, so I almost forgot to fit the rear shocks. So yeah, happy days on that one. I finally got the socket to torque tighten the hub nuts. The front wheels and rear wheels are all coming off again anyway, so I can do a proper bleed so I don't spill anything on the wheels and stuff like that. So yeah, plenty coming up in this episode. So dust the car off a little bit here, and I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back everyone. So I've got the car jacked up and fitted the passenger side, pulled door closing, pulling strap, whatever you want to call it, onto here, so matching either side. It looks pretty good actually. I thought it was going to look a bit crap, but it's nice and tidy. Ties in with these load spreading washers, tie in with these on the seats, and the ones on the harness bars over there. So yeah, it looks pretty good. So I've just took the rear wheels off, just jacked the front end off up, put it on axle stands, and I just grabbed the wheel just to check. I always just give it a check to make sure everything's tight and where it should be, and I noticed that there was play. Under normal circumstances, after I put the car back together and not tying the hub nuts, it would have been okay, but I torqued down the hub nuts the other day, and the hub nuts were tight and there was still play in the hub, on the hub bearing. So there's something not right with the new drive shafts. There's always something, isn't there? But so yeah, not happy at all, both sides I might add. So yeah, basically this is torqued down. Fortunately I hadn't peened the nut yet onto the shaft, drive shaft, because I wanted to obviously get the wheel off in order to do so. So just by checking, I've discovered that got this plate, it's torqued up, and obviously something with the drive shaft is causing it to not able to clamp down properly on the bearing. So back to the drawing board with this. Push come to shove, what I'll do, I'll put new CV gaiters on the old shafts. I'll take these removed and send them back to whence they came, and crack on with it that way. So yeah, a bit annoyed actually that they're not fitting. So yeah, what was supposed to be routine wheels off, peen the drive shaft, flange nuts after torquing them, bleeding the brakes, fitting the rear shocks on, and basically get on the blower to Howell to book an MOT with this car at Star Autocare. It's now turned into drive shaft out, order new CV gaiters for the old drive shafts, and go through the hassle of sending the new drive shafts back. Fortunately, I hung on to the boxes as I normally do, and yeah, outer CV gaiters are fine on these two shafts. Is the inner ones, or the inner one actually, this one's fine. This one is split for whatever reason, but anyway, I'm going to change this in the CV and get them refitted back onto the car. So in the meantime, I need to get the new ones removed and do some measuring along here. I think they must be narrower in here, and it's this mating face here on the other shafts. The only thing I can think of is that it's not enough area to clamp down on the back of the bearing. So yeah, back to the drawing board. Not very happy. In fact, it's kind of annoying, and it shouldn't be happening with a brand new drive shaft. So but there we are, shit happens. So yeah, back to the drawing board with the drive shafts, and in the meantime I'm going to drop the bottom arm on the near side front, take the drive shaft out. Fortunately, I hadn't filled the gearbox up properly yet, so I'll drain some oil out with that, put the old drive shaft back in, tighten it up, and see how that compares. I'm pretty sure that's the issue, because there was no issues like that before. So yeah, pissed off, but what can you do? You just got to crack on. And time is limited at the minute. We're on the 4th of June today, and still haven't got the car back on the road. Welcome back everyone. Now I managed to get one shock absorber off. My God almighty, how tight they were. If you look at this, it's literally taken me about 25 minutes to get it off, and if you've done this job before, you'll know that this nut goes into a receding piece on the subframe. Not sure whether you can see that. Let me just get a head torch to show you. It's kind of stepped into the frame. It's been a struggle, to be honest. So you can see where it goes in, and of course you can't get straight onto it because the body shell is in the way. So an absolute battle. So I now need to find a new bolt, washers and a nut, because there's no way they're going back in. So here we go, new shock. This is old shock totally bollocks, and new shock going back on. So gotta be careful with these, because you adjust them on there, so they got to go facing down. Otherwise, if it goes up to the shell, obviously you can't adjust it. So yeah, gonna get this on and then tackle the other side. And of course this is technically the easier side because there's no exhaust in the way. So although I have taken the lower nut off the other side, so it's just the top nut now, and if this one's anything to go by, it's going to be another struggle. But this time I'm going to have the exhaust in the way, so it's going to be a pain in the ass, a huge pain in the ass. So I'll see you in a bit. That's the first shock in situ, so it's not get some light, not looking too bad now. So yeah, basically I've put this back on now. I've cleaned the threads, everything's pretty good, and obviously the damper adjustment is on the lower bit here, so I just need to get a replacement bolt for this, because there's just no way that is going back on this car. So a couple of new washers as well, and yeah, it'll be a decent. Welcome back everyone. The bolts, the new bolts, washers and nylock nuts for the rear suspension shocks are on order. I managed to get the lower rear shock nut away from the shock absorber, dead easy. There's a real struggle with both bolts on the with the nut and the nut and bolt on the driver's side, and this side it was piece of piss. It literally was piece of piss. So I haven't tackled the upper nut and bolt yet, because I need to move the exhaust across, because of course on these it's right in the way. So I'm really hoping I don't get the same kind of fight as I got with the other one. It literally took me half an hour to take it off, and it was so tight. I was really concerned at one point that I might have had to, you know, start hacking or start grinding it off. But fortunately, after a long fight with it, and not being ideal, lying on your side underneath the car on a couple of axle stands, which are not even on the maximum height, they're in one notch from resting at the bottom, so it's in pain in the arse. So I've ordered those bits in. So yeah, so on Sunday I decided to tackle rebleeding the brakes. So so upon getting the car on the axle stands, I grabbed the near side wheel, and I just moved it, and I thought there's a little bit of play in that. So I grabbed it, top and bottom, move it, and lo and behold, even with the hub nuts torqued down to 260 Newton meters, there was play in it. So there was no play in it before with the old drive shafts in there, no issues at all. So there's an issue now with both new drive shafts, and I suspect that it's the taper on the outer CV, where the back of the where the CV joint itself sits and seats on the back of the bearing, that it's not in the right place, so it's enabling it to move. So I've cracked off both hub nuts, and the plan is at the minute to get the old drive shafts back in. There was no nasty knocks or bangs with them. They were okay. The only reason I decided to replace them was because the car was up, its nose was up in the air, everything was off, and it was a good time to do it. Just get everything done at the same time. So that's what I did. But there was one job I had to do on the drive shafts, and it's a work in progress at the moment, and that was basically to replace the inner CV on the driver's side drive shaft. So I've removed the outer section of the shaft away from the inside. One of the bearing races came off, and I had needle bearings everywhere. However, having been caught out by that in the past, I had the the microfiber cloth underneath the shaft when I pulled it out very slowly. So yeah, all the bearings, the roller bearings, the needle bearings were caught, no issues, and they have now been refitted with some nice clean grease. So all good, other than the two new shafts not being fit for purpose. So I need to contact the seller, explain to them the situation. So yeah, not ideal, but it is what it is. So I suspect the issue is with the drive shafts is that basically there's something not right with this taper angle here, this profile. I don't think that it's sitting is allowing the shaft isn't going up against the bearing housing, which would explain the play. So that's another setback really. So yeah, going back to what I was saying about the brake bleeding, I decided to re-bleed it. Well, I had to re-bleed it, so I wasn't happy at all with how it was. So I connected my old trusty eezybleed automatic pressure bleeding kit to it, and the basically the lid cracked on me. So that job went bollocks and out the window. So with that in mind, I decided, right, okay, I've had it the best part of 10 years, so it's done really well. It's bled a lot of cars, so I'm pretty happy with that result. So I decided to ask some friends of mine what they were using to bleed the brakes on their cars and motorbikes, etc. So majority of guys came back, most of the guys actually came back with this piece of kit. So really good. European cars, the caps will fit any European car. Went straight on to the 2.5, no issues. Nice robust connector here, nice seal, and you get a little spanner to close the lid. Let me just get that out. So you get a spanner to close the lid. This lid's got to be fairly tight, otherwise you won't get an airtight seal. So when you pump the bottle up, it gives you a register reading on this gauge here. So of course, having been used to the eezybleed, I went up to 20 psi and bled it, and as I bled down this setup, it automatically tops up the reservoir, and it was basically absolutely perfectly topped up, just on the maximum on the reservoir. Absolutely superb. Really chuffed. So I've bled all four corners. Again, there was quite a bit of air in the front calipers on both sides of the calipers. So I'm going to leave it stand now for a couple of days, and I'll connect the eezybleed back up again and re-bleed just to check to make sure there's no more air in the system. The pedal feels okay. No issues, I don't think. But I fired the car up and tested the pedal. I'm just keeping this box away here. With the engine running, pressed the brake, it felt okay. There's never been the best of pedals on this anyway. I think it's pretty much similar to where it was. So we'll see how it goes when I get it back on its wheels once I've sorted these drive shafts out. So yeah, swap the drive shafts out, finish this drive shaft, get this done and dusted, get them back on the car, fit the new bolt on the driver's side and the new shock and new bolts on the passenger side rear, or near side rear. So, and then I can actually book it for an MOT. But I'm gonna finish this episode here, not as planned. The plan was to finish the car in this episode, but things happen, you know, shit happens, and I've just not had the best of time with the Peugeot at the moment. I've got other things, house renovations and stuff on my mind, so that's kind of distracted me as well. But I've squeezed some bits in today. This afternoon I was supposed to have been going doing a 10k run, but I had loads of other things to sort out, so I've pushed that to one side. But yeah, I'm going to end this episode here, and yeah, as always, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for following, thanks for liking the videos and stuff. And yeah, I'm really chuffed to say that a couple of days ago I got a new subscriber, and I've now hit 600 subscribers on the channel, which was something, you know, it's not a huge number to a lot of people, I suspect, but to me it means the world. So I'm really chuffed, really happy about that. So yeah, thanks everyone for you know, for following me. I know things have gone quiet recently and no weekly videos, but it's just, life is just busy at the minute. So I apologise for not having weekly installations for you, but there'll be the next video, hopefully. I thought that about this one, but it never happened. Hopefully we'll be finishing the car and taking it for its MOT. Hopefully getting a ticket on it for an MOT, and yeah, just looking forward to using it, really, seeing how the brakes perform and stuff like that. So I've got fed the brakes in and stuff before obviously it hits the rollers on in the MOT in the garage. So yeah, loads to come still. Hopefully a car show or a car meet or two, or cars and coffee and two before the year's out. I've got quite a lot of my weekends planned for charity events and running stuff this year, and also cycling as well. So yeah, really busy times at the minute, but thanks everyone for supporting me. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week.